Hello, my loves. How are you? Welcome to See Like Sheba. My name is Sheba. I'm here to be blunt, and you're here to see like me. How do you like that? My last name is Blunt, so kind of works. Isn't that crazy? Because I'm so like real and direct, just naturally, or perhaps it's because my last name is Blunt that I've become so. But regardless, hey, how you guys doing? Happy Friday. This has been, I started my period yesterday on the full moon, which feels very sacred and powerful. So I'm feeling lots of emotions, my own, but also a lot of the collective's emotions. And, we've just been taught to suppress so much. So when it comes through, it's like, ugh. But good thing I spend so much time doing like nervous system regulation things. So I can handle it, but it still it gets like frustrating. So I titled this one Your Rage is Sacred and Feminine, because I've been we've been taught to suppress our own rage and our own anger, and then tolerate and endure and accept the violence and anger and rage of men and white people. And we're just kind of all expected to just go along with that. And this came up to me. We were talking today. I saw that Kim Jong-un had, said that the is going to have the death penalty for people who show support for Zionism. And I, saw that and I showed it to Billy and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, we need more of this, because we're seeing the opposite. We're seeing anyone who is anti-Zionist or opposes Zionism in any way or gets in Zionism's way, they are, the state is using its full power to censor, imprison, disappear, be violent to, anyone who is like supporting Zionism. So, who is not supporting Zionism. And so, sometimes, a lot of times, I think when we're in this time of unknowing, where it's uncharted territory, and we're in this time of unknowing, and it can be tempting to resort to what we've been taught, to what we, hi, oh, hi, you guys. Good to see you all. I was like, Billy, ASMR, but maybe Billy will do that one day. But anyway, so I showed them this article about like the Kim Jong-un was like, we'll have the death penalty for anyone who supports Zionism. And my husband was like, well, we don't want to, have the state involved in, violence for political thought. Because, like, what about McCarthyism? And, and I'm like, wait, this is Zionism. Wait, guys, we're all underreacting. I think we're taught to, make it so violence is totally okay for white people to use, for men to use. I remember, like, when I was growing up, like, one time something was happening in politics and in Congress, and my mom was like, oh, they're like the spawn of Satan. And my dad, who, used to like hit us and yell at us and, make us feel unsafe, and was in the Vietnam War, was like to my mom, he's like, oh, the spawn of Satan, like, come on, like, that is just so much, that's unreasonable. That's like, come on, they're not that. And I'm like, I'm sorry, not a man trying to dictate what is an appropriate expression of rage. Not a man with a history of hitting children trying to dictate what is an appropriate expression of rage in a woman. And so, like, when I was talking about, this kind of stuff with my husband today, he kept bringing up, like, Zionists, fair weather Zionists, that we know. Like this girl at my, who I used to be friends with, but now she's a horrible Zionist, so I'm not. But her name is Rachel Sheffel, and brings up this other girl, Zionist, Shauna, who's a lawyer, and is just like silently sitting back and receiving the, benefits of supporting Zionism. We bring up them as like are they gonna, do they get the death penalty for supporting Zionism? And it's like, I mean, how are we gonna stop Zionism right now? What are you guys seeing that's going on? Like, we're seeing the most horrific things. The Israelis are just like, openly talking, planning their concentration camp within their concentration camp now, and about how they're justifying it to make it legal to shoot whoever they want, even though they already have it legal to do that. And it's like crazy. Oh my gosh, what is Zionism? Go look up Zionism on Wikipedia. They just updated the definition, actually. And it's going to be a word we will know, like we know what Nazism is. It's a more exclusive and racist form of Nazism. And it's so dangerous because we accept it and no one seems to know what it is, even though like the most powerful people in the world are using all of their violence, all of their power to support Zionism and Zionism's aims, which are to steal the Palestinians' land and replace them with a population of Jewish settlers, so that the West can maintain like economic and like military control over that resource-rich region. And we're taught that, like, we've been colonized. If you're in the US, we're on native land and we are this settler colony too. And so, one of the ways that colonialism works is it like teaches us that rage, anger, violence, those are things that belong to certain people, white people, men mostly, certainly white men, but we will let other men use violence and rage if it is in service of, what white people want them to do. And so we have this world in which, people become cops and they fight in the U.S. military and they go and fight in Israel and the IOF, and they, can do whatever they want. They can, work for, Lockheed Martin, these weapons developers. They can, be mercenaries, because it's legal to be a mercenary. You can get paid to go be in these, military groups. And that's okay. It's crazy. And we just have to have like a different understanding of what it is. And so, rage is actually a feminine quality. And I think that's why it's suppressed so much and policed so much in non-men. We have been taught that rage, anger, violence, those types of emotions, those we reserve for men. My father was allowed to be angry. He was allowed to express his anger. He was allowed to express his rage. He was allowed to take it out on who he saw fit. Me, I had to keep it to myself. If I was angry at how I was being treated, I had to learn to be quiet about it. If I was angry about how I was being treated and my father had done it, I absolutely had to just... And I think like probably a lot of us have been taught that, like, yes, certain people are allowed to express their anger and rage. Our parents, men, our boss, our governments, and we are expected to endure. We are expected to, try to avoid sparking their rage. And we are also expected to find another way to express our rage. That's why, women have these like super high rates of like autoimmune disorders and things, because we've just been taught to, repress and suppress our rightful anger. And so I think too, we're taught to like fear all of our emotions, but particularly our, negative ones, the ones that are actually there to keep us safe from people who are going to exploit us. So we're taught to be afraid of our passion, of our anger, of our rage. And so, yeah, I think of rage as a actual feminine thing. When I think of like rage, I think of like a tsunami. I think of a rainstorm. I think of, like a stormy ocean. And that's what I think of as like, and I think of like violence too. We've been taught to think of it as just like this male thing, but like, the women lions are the ones who like have to do all the, killing to get the food and stuff. And, but like in humans, women have been taught to fear our rage, and men have maybe been taught to masculinize rage and anger. And so this emotion that's here to help fuel us and power us is not being treated as sacred, and it's being treated as masculine, just like a thing that any brute can use, and that it can never be like wielded by anyone other than who we've said is allowed to wield it. So the military, you're allowed to wield rage and violence, of course. Your dad, of course, he's allowed to be, full of rage and stuff. Your boss, of course, we know our angry boss, and we're taught to what? Take it. Which is so funny because like I think of going along with stuff, taking it, enduring it, going along with it as like a kind of masculine trait. I think saying no, this is enough is a feminine trait. And so when I see, children being starved, adults being starved, hospitals being bombed, people being sniped, and the American schooling system is odd compared to don't even like it's the American education system is, we're just so propagandized, and we're taught to be so nationalistic, and so we're taught to be obedient little workers. And we are, like, we are. One thing about the Americans, we will go along with terrible, terrible things. We will carry out the whims of horrible, violent men, and we won't even think of using violence to overthrow them, to stop them from being violent. Bro. Anyway, so your rage is sacred and it's feminine. And so with women particularly, like, don't just push your rage down. Who are you doing that for? Who's going to actually protect the children? Who's going to actually protect the women? The men? Come on. Stop. We're not kids anymore. Your dad is not there to yell at you because you look angry. You don't have to fix your face. You don't have to lower your voice. In fact, seeing what's going on, I'm like, how are you guys not speaking up more? How are you not angrier? Did your parents blame you, shame you, make you feel, bad for expressing anger before? You're an adult now. And other adults are doing really bad things that are going to require the righteous, sacred, feminine rage to neutralize. That's the thing that's going to do it. We have this idea that love is going to drive out hate. Rage also helps though. We're taught to think of love as this passive, kind of accepting thing. And I love you enough to be honest with you. I love you enough to be like, I love you enough to be like, no, we're not doing this. In England, we're out here railing our homies. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means, but, I don't know, Brits. I think the West, we need to, sit down for a little bit. Like we've been taught to like just have this really bad relationship with rage and our emotions, and my rage is sacred. My rage is feminine. My rage is righteous. My rage is coming directly from the divine. Everything is out of order right now. We have all the most violent, the most unloving, the most fearful in power. And that's just not going to work. Gen Z is cooked if World War III was to happen. I don't know. None of us were cooked when World War I happened or World War II. So, I mean, why would we assume this one is going to be any different? Humans are scarily good at enduring. Certainly world wars. Come on, that's bread and butter. You do it every generation. We'll be fine. Our souls are permanently fractured and damaged from how we're just going along with genocide. Our souls are completely cooked by us telling ourselves, well, let's just keep going along as normal. Let's just keep being afraid of our power. Let's just keep letting everyone get away with everything. We don't want to make it weird. We don't want to make people feel uncomfortable. Like, guys, concentration camps regularly. They're just bragging about it now. Be it alligator Auschwitz or in Gaza or in the West Bank. It's like, what? How are we just letting the worst people in the world use rage and anger and violence to do whatever they want? And we're denying ourselves the ability to use those tools. Why? I've demonstrated that I am a better steward of anger and rage than any man I've ever known. Every fight I've ever been in, I've never harnessed my violence to harm the other person. I've always endured it. And now I'm like, I think we need to stop that, ladies. I think the men know that, you know, a lot of us are taught to just kind of turn the other cheek and accept it and lay down and endure it and go along with it, apologize for it, absolve it. But like, no, that's not going to work anymore. It's not going to work anymore. So all of the moms of Israelis or of Jewish children in other countries who are trying to like get their child to support Zionism or Israel or get them to go fight for Israel, you're doing the wrong thing. You're doing a super bad and violent thing. And since rage is feminine, rage is nature, nature is feminine. Yeah, everything's going to rebalance. That's what's happening now. Everything is like reharmonizing. And it's going to be really difficult for a lot of people. But it's okay. We've also been, we're really good at enduring horrific violence. We're really good at it. Scarily good at it. So good at it that like most people don't even like recognize it when it's happening because we've just been taught to like endure it. It's just like the air we breathe. So we don't even like think that we could harness that power ourselves. I was thinking of it too. It's kind of like we've been think about things like rage and anger and power in the same way that we've been taught to think about like money. Like we've seen how bad people have used money in terrible ways. And we've seen how, men, people in positions of authority, have used money in terrible ways. And we've also seen, rage and anger used in those same ways. So we fear that if we access our rage and our power, we're going to use it in the same ways we've seen or experienced being used against us. or if we get money, we're going to use it in the same ways we've seen it be used and misused and abused by other people. And yeah, that's just not true. You got to have more faith in yourself, babes. Your rage is sacred. We're not supposed to be just at the whims of whatever an angrier, shoutier dude says to do. And yeah, so I've just been like really glad to see so many women waking up, and yeah, so many people who have been taught to like suppress and be ashamed of their rage, sitting with it and processing it and transmuting it. So yeah, your rage is super powerful. So especially if you're a woman, don't discount it. Don't discount it as a tool. Don't discount anger, violence as a tool for you. Don't say that that's only something that men can use and that you're just as bad as if you use it too. And or be okay with that. You're allowed to be just as bad as men. If that's like we have this thing too about like everyone is like me pushed out. So like, okay, great. Like Netanyahu is me also. So I must have the same power. I love that. And if that's true, that must mean I can do literally whatever I want. And all of you guys are just going to let me. I know that because I see you guys allow Netanyahu to do whatever he wants. Hey, you guys just go along with it. You also let everyone who wants to be friends with him or support him do that. And you let them go on about their days. So I'm like, wow. So I could be like him. I could have that same power with him. In fact, I do have that same power to use rage and violence and all the tools that are available to humans. I can use that to create the world that I want to see, that I want to live in. And I don't need to get everyone to agree with me. I don't need to be pragmatic. I don't need them to understand. 22 on my timer. I don't need them to understand. I don't need to explain myself. I can just do it. And you guys will just go along with it. Wow. I love it. And like part of like grappling with the power that you have is going to be the like, the ickiness that comes up when you're faced with the idea that, I have this power now that I used to tell myself was only reserved for like men or white people or people of those categories in a position of authority. And now I have that power. Oh my gosh. Am I going to use it in the same way? Oh, I better not use it. Better suppress it. Babes. Come on. I really am. At anything you can do, I can do better. Certainly when it's something that a white person is doing. Certainly when it's something that a white man is doing. And certainly when it's something that a Zionist is doing. I'm like, oh, okay, great. I love when I see someone doing something, even if it's something like I disagree with necessarily. I understand now that that is available to me. I can do that too. Especially if they're doing a terrible thing and they're getting away with it. I'm like, oh, wow. I could do that too. Great. And I just have to trust myself that like I'm going to make a better choice. But even if I don't, I can't really let that stop me. It certainly doesn't stop Netanyahu. Certainly doesn't stop white men. So, certainly don't let your rage stop you. Yeah, it's going to fuel me. Okay, I kind of can't see like what the rest of this comment says. I think Palestine and something V1 in Fortnite to settle the war. Is it like that they should do play in Fortnite? That would be interesting, but no, the only thing that can be settled is that Palestine is returned to the Palestinians, and occupied Palestine is swept off the map, and their people scattered. Yeah, that's what's going to happen. God is super pissed at the Israelis, and how they've, you know, sacrilegious and demonized and desecrated God and humanity by what they're like forcing all of us to do. It's like, oh my gosh. And we're just supposed to endure it. We're just supposed to be like, okay, whenever Israel wants to stop. Like, no, come on. Come on. The Israelis love to talk about it, their biblical right, but I think the Bible is chock full of God being like, okay, I'm going to choose you, and then that privilege going to their head, and then God being like, oh, never mind, I'm going to smite you now. And yeah, so that's what's going down. And so it's getting real messy for the Zionists. You see them scrambling. You see them using all of their power to try to, oh, you better not. You better not. Oh, what about, you can't make us feel bad about it. What? Mm-mm. 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 Yeah. So anyway, let me get off. That was a ramble. But that's okay. I know my ramblings are still so wise and brilliant, and they're going to be studied. So, anyway, yeah. Bring your forehead against your screen. I love you, unless you're a Zionist. In which case, oof, I feel so bad for you, because you're about to have a really bad time. And you've cursed your bloodline for generations. So, oh, but yeah. Anyway, this is all made up, and we have a responsibility to make it up differently, my loves. So yeah, yeah. So free Palestine, and yeah, your rage is sacred and feminine, my loves. So bask in it. Explore it. Don't run away from it. Don't demonize it. Don't push it away. I trust your feminine rage more than I trust any man's expression of anger. So explore it. Explore it. All right. I love you guys. I'll see you.